Is the GOP turning on you because of this, or is it just loud people who, whose interests are more closely aligned with Israel?
Well, number one, so Donald Trump is the most attacked, I'd say, human being ever by the establishment media. I would say I'm the most attacked member of Congress ever by the establishment media. I have supported him unapologetically. They would love to be able to say MTG and Trump have split. And they're trying to say that, yet I talk to the president routinely. I text with him. He and I have a great relationship.
You would know if things were not good.
Yes.
I can speak to that.
Yes. Now, here's the other side of it. I got elected on my own. I didn't get elected with a Trump endorsement. I beat 8 men in a primary who I respected every single one of them. I thought, wow, these guys are great. How am I going to win? But somehow I beat the heck out of all of them. So I also have the, I would say, luxury of being a very independent member of Congress. And I can disagree with the president. I can. And I already have on multiple fronts. The Genius Act that just recently passed that set up the whole system for stablecoin. And I didn't vote for that bill because it has a backdoor for a central bank digital currency, which I am largely against. And Speaker Johnson didn't allow us to do amendments on that bill to amend that part of the bill. So I said, I'm a no vote. That was President Trump's
You were
bill.
against the bombing of Iran. You said so.
Yep, I was against bombing Iran. I'm against paying for Israel to continue to keep bombing Gaza. I think it's a humanitarian crisis. I've called it a genocide. And children are starving to death. I've talked to Christian pastors there that have told me that Christians have been killed and children are being starving against. I'm a Christian myself. I'm against children.
Let's talk about that one.
Starving.
There's daylight between us because I believe that children are starving and hurting in Gaza, no question. Mm-hmm. But I blame Hamas. I do see what's happening with the Israeli aid and the food trucks, and they get co-opted by Hamas, by certain Palestinians. And that's why, and the more suffering children they can get on a camera over there, the better in their minds. These are not honest brokers. They steal from their own people. They're happy to watch their children starve to death as long as they can put the emaciated baby on camera. It's disgusting. They don't have the same value toward human life that we do, and yes, that Israel has. I'm not saying Israel's perfect. They haven't executed this whole thing perfectly, not by a long shot, but when I see what's happening with the starving children, I blame Hamas.
Well, they started
I wrong?
it. They started it, so October 7th was unbelievably horrific. It's unspeakable what Hamas did. I totally blame Hamas. The war wouldn't even be happening if Hamas hasn't done all the things that they've done, right? Firing rockets into Israel, kidnapping and murdering all these people, suicide bombers over the years. Absolutely. They started this and it's horrible. I think it's Israel's, they can pinpoint areas, but they're just mass bombing everywhere, and the videos coming out of there are terrible. I'll also say this, Megyn, that conflict has been going on I'm 51 years old. It's been going on way beyond before I was born or any of us were born. I can't even tell you I qualify to solve it. I think God is the only person that
You don't think Mara
it.
Gaza is the solution?
No. No, not at all.
My problem is, when you use the word genocide, like, I don't believe that, but I also don't have any meaningful video or picture source that I trust.
Yeah,
You know?
I think it's fair to say that no one does, right? Although I haven't seen the number of dead children, injured children, starving children coming out of the Ukraine-Russian conflict like we've seen come out of the Israel-Gaza conflict.
Isn't that because of the Palestinians and their amazing propaganda abilities? Like, I think that's the reason, because the Palestinians put all this on camera and release it. That they make sure that we see this, which is another reason to be suspicious of it. You know, I don't know what I'm being fed or for what purpose.
Yeah.
The Ukrainians aren't doing that, and the Russians aren't doing that.
But why not, though? Why isn't Ukraine and Russia
they're not good at propaganda.
doing that to each other?
See, this is
Well, I don't know. I think Zelensky's pretty good at propaganda.
Maybe, but I guess he doesn't have like the lifelong commitment to it that the Palestinians. I mean, since I've been in news, the Palestinians have been doing this.
Yeah.
And they're very good manipulators of media, of cameras.
You've been in the news business much longer than me.
I've been burned enough times by them. Like I've gone with their numbers over the years enough times. I've been like, oh my God, this is another fucking lie. All you do is make up lies and numbers.
Right.
Then you run with it. And you know, if you're smart, you pay attention, you get burned. Then you realize, oh, I do not trust the Hamas Ministry of Health. So that's kind of how I've come to it. But I also feel like it's also undeniable that at this point, Israel has lost, or most charitably is losing the propaganda war. Mm-hmm. And I know why. They're not fighting it as well as Hamas. They never have. Mm. And I think people gave them a huge benefit of the doubt in the beginning of this war. It was like we were still getting bombarded by images and false facts by the Palestinians. But it was like, you know what? We're impenetrably on Israel's side. We saw what you did on 10/7. But it's been 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I know Israel says, well, we still have 20 hostages left, or whatever the exact number is.
20 that are alive. 50, but I think they think 20 are still
that are alive.
Yeah.
But my question is, how long, and with all due respect to the hostages, how long can we justify nonstop war based on the hostages? And it's not that I have no empathy for the hostages. It's just at some point, war must stop, or at least we have to stop funding it at some point.
See, that's where I'm at. We don't need to fund it. That's where I'm at. I can't fix it. I can't even step in there and come up with a solution to repair it. You want to know why? I can't even relate to it. I don't live there. I don't live on either side. I certainly do not support Hamas ever, never couldn't even defend them in any position. However, I do know all the videos and pictures I've seen of these children. I do know that, but I can also say Americans don't want to fund this anymore. We just don't. And I also can say Israel, and even Lindsey Graham said it recently. He said, if Israel wanted to commit genocide, they could.
It could.
And you want to know what that is? That's an admission by Lindsey Graham saying that Israel is completely competent. Therefore, why are we funding it?
Can I ask you that? Because my understanding is the reason, generally that we fund Israel so much more than a lot of other countries is where we started. That they really are the only democracy in the Middle East. There's only one Jewish state. There's some 30 Muslim nations, but only one Jewish state. So they need to exist. They have no place else to go. It's not an area of the world that's very hospitable to Jewish people.
Right.
And they are allied with the United States. They seem to share a lot of our values. So you watch, this is a weird way of looking at it, but I look at what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan, with the call to prayer 5 times a day on the streets of an American city, and Muslim immigrants coming over here and having 7 children each family. And look at the birth rates in Europe right now, which are largely non-existent for white native Europeans, but sky high for Islamic immigrants, many of whom are Islamists. And I think this is an existential situation here. Is it so bad to have this one country in the middle of the Middle East, which is a very rough neighborhood, Syria, Lebanon, that likes us, that will help us, that would, if we ever had a conflict there, help with our military staging, that has amazing intelligence, that it shares with us, that has amazing abilities to effect, terrorist takedown plans, which is also helpful. So these strategic reasons make sense to me too, for our understanding we don't have endless funds to spend some there. Yeah,
that's been the thinking, and that's what Americans have largely believed, and that's how the U.S. government has largely functioned for as long as I can remember. Although if you look at Israel, you have to recognize in the context of these conversations, not only are they such a strong economic country, not only have they proven that their military they're annihilating their enemy. Totally. They're going to finish the job, and they're saying they're going to finish the job. They also have nuclear weapons. This is a nuclear-armed nation.
So you're saying you agree with all that, but they got it.
I'm saying America is a sinking ship. We're sinking so badly. Our children have no hope of ever buying a home in the future. We pass a budget that is overblown and ridiculous every single year. And we are dragging, we're going to be we're 37 now. It'll be 40 trillion in a matter of who knows months or
But
or
with
a year.
respect to Israel and like the sense it makes, this alliance, what I hear you saying is fine, but they've got it. They're actually not facing an existential threat right now. They've devastated all their immediate enemies all around Israel. So
Look at the action.
if this were a situation where Israel actually were on the verge of not existing,
I think we'd have a different conversation.
Okay, I
look
get
at,
it.
Look at that. I just go by. I'm a action versus words person. So for me, I'm like, wow, the 12-day war with Iran, which I was totally like, we shouldn't be doing this. Israel's a nuclear armed nation. Look at the outcome there. They did nothing to Israel. They did shoot missiles in there, but did they really do anything to Israel? No. And could they have? No. Israel's a nuclear armed nation. They're surrounded by their enemies per se, and that's constantly said over and over again. But Israel is a nuclear armed nation. They can nuke these people off the planet if they want to. And they have proven with their actions what they will do to their enemies to the point of like I said, they're starving children in Gaza. There are innocent Christians have been killed. Christian churches have been bombed. They are proving that these 50 hostages that are left and they're demanding back, they are proving that they will turn the entire Gaza Strip to rubble to get their 50 people back. I think that's a country that America can say, they got it.
you got this.
But we're not doing the same thing for our people. That's
Right, we're kind of losing our shining city on the hill feel as you look back at our friend from Illinois and driving her car, and there are millions more just like her.
tons of them.
I mean,
They're filled in my district.
if you told me tomorrow that we're pulling all the aid from Israel, I would say, "Oh, good God, who's going to decide where it goes?" That's one of my other concerns here.
I'm
It's
like, write a check to Americans.
yeah.
I mean, that poor woman in her car, or it's like
Trump actually made some noise about giving rebate to people from the tariff income.
and everybody was like, thank God.
Real people were like that,
Yes.
but sort of talking heads who work for like muckety muck magazines always said tisk, use it to pay down the debt, which is another thing. But
Right.
they didn't want that woman in the car getting it directly.
Yeah. No, the sad reality is that, so here's what I keep telling everybody in Washington. I'm like, oh, you think we're going to win the midterms by spending all this stupid money again, not solving everybody's problems? Really, everybody's going to run out and vote for Republicans again? It's not going to happen. I think people,
Especially when Trump is gone. So what do we think the effect of the sparring between President Donald Trump and the Fed is going to be? Can the Fed take the right action at the right time? Do we trust in that? Or are we going to be looking at a potential economic slowdown as they slow roll any of their moves as they worry about his tariffs? And what exactly does all of this mean for your savings? You might want to consider diversifying right about now with gold through Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been viewed as a safe haven in times of economic stagnation, global uncertainty, and high inflation. And Birch Gold makes it incredibly easy for you to diversify some of your savings into gold. If you have an IRA or old 401k, you can convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or just buy some gold to keep it in your safe. First, get educated. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Just text MK to the number 989898. Again, text MK to 989898, and you'll start the process of just getting the 411 on what it means to own gold. Consider diversifying a portion of your savings into gold. So if the Fed cannot stay ahead of the curve for the country, at least you can stay ahead of the curve for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.